Hello, this is Michael Felsher from Red Shirt Pictures. You're listening to the Timo and Harley Show.
Welcome to the Timo and Harley Show.
Thank you for listening to the Timo and Harley Show. I am Timo. Over there's my partner in mind crime, Mr. Ben Harley. Say hello, Harley.
What is happening, people?
Ben, heavy petting Harley.
Hey, wait a second. Did you talk to my girlfriend from high school about when I took her to the movie? It wasn't me, Tim. It was her, I swear.
I did, but it's been since high school since I talked to her. Wow, wow.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yes, hello and salutations to you, Mr. Ben Harley, and to the deep thinkers.
You too, Tim.
All the deep thinkers out there are everyday, non-casual listeners.
Yes.
Listening, you have to get dressed up to listen to the show, right? You gotta put a tuxedo in your brain, right?
That's
and
right,
then start thinking very, very deeply. Mr. Ben Harley, I got a phone call this week out of the blue. It was a nice phone call, and it's someone that I haven't talked to in a little while, probably since we were allowed legally to have conventions. Movie conventions and things like that.
Been a while, yeah.
I got a phone call from our pal, Jerry Chandler from Synapse Films.
Synapse, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So, guess who's going to be a guest on our show coming up here pretty soon?
Jerry.
Yeah, Mr. Ben Harley. Do you got a crystal ball over there?
Yeah, I might.
I thought so, yeah. So
I don't know if it's crystal. It might be plastic, but it's yeah.
Right. Well, let me tell you about how smart I am. We are right now, let's see, on episode 500 and blah, blah, blah. And so we've been doing the show now for, a good 10 years. So, right? Yes. And we've known Jerry, I think, longer than that.
Yeah.
Actually. Yep. And we talk a lot about movies being released on Blu-ray and transfers and who owns the rights to what and this and that. And we've never had Jerry on to talk about these things, given that he is a friend of ours who actually knows things about this subject. Yeah. And
right, exactly. Yeah.
I'm so smart that it only took me 500 and blah, blah, blah episodes to say, hey, Jerry, do you talk? Yeah. Can you talk about your business on our show? Yes.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Oh, so Jerry, our friend.
Good job, Timo.
Yes. So, Mr. Jerry Chandler is going to be very soon he will be. I don't know exactly when, but we're going to have him on. And we're going to talk about the process of having the ding idea. Like, for instance, they put out a great version of Suspiria. It's really well known. I think it played at Alamo Drafthouse and everything. So,
wow. Okay.
I'm going to ask, how does this process? Oh yeah, how does this process go from the little ding? I want to put out Suspiria to the rights to the film to the restoration, if any, are needed. To how do you get the special features together? And then all of it. Promotion, everything from idea to release. Like, how does this happen? So it could be a long interview, Mr. Ben Harley. We could have to split this up over some weeks, but I think it's interesting because we do talk about it a lot. And as much as you or I may know about this, it's not what we do every day. And there are some things that this is what Jerry and Don May, they do this. This is what they do for a living.
Yes.
So it's and also
this is how they make their living.
Absolutely. Right. And so we're gonna have them on to actually discuss it, lift that veil off basically and say this is how it happens. So maybe it will satisfy some of the complaining that I do. I'm completely I am completely guilty of that. Right now my jam is Savage Harvest. I really want that out on Blu-ray. So I got my prophecy. Now I'm dying to have Savage Harvest. I'm starting to dig a little deep into the old vault now. I want that movie out on Blu-ray. So basically, I'm going to ask him, if I want this on Blu-ray, how does it happen? How do we do this?
How does it happen? Right. Tim, I think that's going to be really cool because I think for our listeners and for you and I both, it's interesting because a lot of these movies, like I'm so surprised that they aren't out on Blu-ray, or some of them never made it to DVD. You know what I mean?
Right,
so
right.
It's very interesting, and God bless those guys for doing that. Bringing them back out, because we wouldn't have them. You know what I mean? We would not. So.
Let's get to again, real quick.
Yes,
I'm looking forward to having Jerry on, and I do apologize to Jerry and our poor audience for not having Jerry on, so he could clear up some of these things that we think we know.
Right.
And
it is interesting, buddy. Totally interesting.
Absolutely. Let's get to some stuff we looked at, Mr. Bun Harley. Got a little bit here. Let's see. From 1986.
Ooh. I turned 16 in 86, Tim.
Well,
it was a fine year for me. Yes.
And in theaters while you were turning 16 was the movie Crawl Space.
Yes.
Starring Klaus Kinski.
Klaus Kinski.
Yes. Directed by David Schmaler, who did a little movie called Puppet Master, and an even littler movie called Tourist Trap.
Oh,
yes. So we have Crawl Space here. I'd like to report that according to David Schmaler, the director, that Klaus Kinski was on his best behavior. He started only 6 fistfights in the first 3 days of filming.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
And he was going to be an old dude at this time.
He only started 6 fistfights. He didn't finish any of them. He started them.
Right. So, and apparently,
key grip. Pow, man.
Apparently, they keyed on the fact that he had a thing for one of the young actresses on the movie that was in the movie, and apparently they noticed that he was acting very dashing when she was around. So they kept her around a whole lot. And apparently when she was around on set, he was on his best behavior. So that's how they got to the movie. Yeah.
Awesome. That is awesome.
Genius. And Klaus is as creepy and slimy. He's almost sticky.
Yeah.
Like a kid. He's just like, oh God, in this movie, he's something else. He's just like, he kind of gets up on the women in this movie, and he's not out of his mind. Well, he is in a movie, but he's very subdued. And that's a creepier Klaus.
Yeah,
that's where he's like, you can hear like the yam smacks when he's talking like, like, oh God, Jesus, put the carrot down, Klaus. So, yeah, it was. You know what though? It's not a bad movie. Not a bad little flick. No. All right, moving on here from 1988. Whoa, we're moving through your high school years.
Man, I tell you, my high school years, you're laying it on me, Tim.
I know. Now I saw this one in a theater. In 88. Watched the movie Pumpkinhead.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
I saw Pumpkinhead
in the theater, too. Yeah.
Did you see it in the theater also?
Ed Harley.
Oh,
yes. I did. Old Ed Harley.
Directed by old Stan Winston himself.
Did he direct that? Okay, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
He did all the effects and everything. I know that.
Yeah, it was basically his movie. So very, very cool. Lance Henriksen, of course, is amazing.
Jeez, man. And that movie, like, it's one of those where it comes together really good. I mean, you got kids, and you're like, this movie, you actually sort of cared about the kids in it. You know what I mean? Like to a certain extent, some of them you wanted, like, I hope you die. I do. I really do. And this movie was one of those where you like, it just engrossed you.
It's just a monster movie.
Yes.
That's what I liked about it. Was that it is a simple, get to the point monster movie. It's just and you start watching it and you're like, man, there ain't no monster for quite a while. You don't even realize it. And the other thing, too, is this, and see if you follow me on this, but it's something about this movie that's always affected me when I'm watching it. Even in the theater when I saw it, is it reminds me of the old Universal horror films in one way. Besides, it's a pretty straightforward monster movie like those were. But it reminds me of, like, where the hell is that taking place at? Like, they start in, like, what looks like the mountains of California. Then they end up in what looks like the swamps of Louisiana.
Yes.
And then it's like, and it's all like foggy and blah. It's like, what? Like, it's kind of dry out in California. Like, so where the hell are they?
Where
you know what I mean?
we?
Yes. Where are they in relative location to Earth? Like, where the hell? And it puts you in this dreamlike state.
Might have been a couple places, Yeah, it does. You're right, though.
It's dreamy. It is dreamy. Yes. It's almost like a fantasy world. It's a fantasy within a horror film. It's very layered to me that It's hard to put my finger on it. It really is. And not in like Stan Winston also did Wrong Turn. They're not trying to trick you. Wrong Turn is kids getting lost in the woods and getting killed by feral cannibalistic mutants.
Yes.
How many movies are like that? The kids in the woods are getting killed, stalked by
just show up
Jason,
somewhere,
basically. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, this movie was a monster movie. It had no pretense to it at all. And I enjoy it, but it snuck in that weird fantasy feel.
It did, Tim, and it's funny because Pumpkinhead's not one of my favorite horror films, but I actually like it a lot. I like it a lot. You know what I mean? I do. But, like, I think it had a big effect. Because, Tim, you and I are 3 years difference in age. So, at this point, you were, like, 14, 15 when this came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think this had a bigger effect on kids that were even younger than us. You know what I'm saying? Like 3-4 years younger than us.
Right.
Or maybe 5 years younger than us. That actually really were affected by this film.
Right.
And, like, guys like Shannon Van Meter and people that we know would love this movie. I mean, absolutely. And my brother-in-law, who is around your age, Tim, maybe a little younger, same thing. He loved this movie. He was like, Ben Harley.
Oh, yeah. We were laughing about that watching it, too.
Yeah.
Ben Harley.
Yeah. And it's funny because, like, it really affected a lot of people. Now, I didn't have so much of an effect on me, but I love this movie. Now, this movie for me is one that when I start watching it, I'm like, oh God, I don't want this to happen, because you're like, it's so avoidable what happens. And the older I've gotten too, you're like, you feel for Ed Harley because you're like, you just want to be left alone. Me and my son are here running this place. We don't need all this stuff. We don't need all these people coming in. And, like, first off, the kids in this movie are jackasses for the most part. There's a couple of
them are really jackasses, but then you got to realize it's guilt by association. They're all together.
And it's so believable to me. Like, this could happen, and that's how people would react. Like, you killed this kid, and like, no, we got to tell somebody. No, I'm not telling nobody because I'm going to get in trouble.
Right.
And so, like, his girlfriend's like, no, we can't tell nobody because he's going to get in trouble. It's so believable.
Right.
That I hate it to a point where I'm like, oh, I hate these kids, man, because the whole thing for me is it's revenge. It's a revenge movie.
Yeah.
It's all about revenge and how it took him, his arc from the time Ed Harley starts to where it ends. He's like, I didn't really want this to happen. You know what I mean? But
right.
He was so bent on revenge that this is what came out of it. You know what I mean? Of course, he went and talked to a witch and had her do. You know what I mean? But okay, there is that part of it. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just. This movie, when I watch this movie, it has a big effect on me. And that's how I judge good movies. Like
right. Well, and a couple of things is, again, like I'm saying, where is this taking place? Like, when he goes to that little community, it looks like Southern Comfort, the movie Southern Comfort, and that's Buck Flower, but who's in it? He's like he's a John Carradine in the 80s, which I love Buck Flower, and our late great friend Danny Hicks was a friend of his too. Love Buck is great. Buck was great. But so where the hell is that? Where is that compound? Where is that community at? Like, what in the world? And this wasn't.
And nobody wants to help anybody either.
No. And
that's scary too.
Yes. The whole thing is like, what year is it? It's hard to tell.
Yes.
Like, it's almost like the kids came out of the 80s. Lance Henriksen and his son come out of maybe the 60s or 70s, and I don't know what century the people came out of that live in dirt shacks and stuff, basically wherever he goes and travels to, and then goes to the witch's place, which looks like it's in a grim fairy tale. Yes, where the hell is it taking place? Here's the other thing too.
Why is she out there living like that?
Yeah, exactly. And what does she do all day? Let's build a fire and sit there and go. Ben Harley, that is my dream job. Is to build a fire and sit back in my chair and look really bad. I've got all this covered already, but then I just need to rock and go. Yes. Okay. So the other thing is this: I'm going to use. I don't know why I keep thinking of this. I'm going to use since I mentioned our good late great friend Mr. Danny Hicks.
Yes.
I'm going to talk about an argument that me and him got into and place it into this movie. So me and him had a debate, and of course he got a hold of Bruce Campbell in front of me, basically calling me out and telling him how great he thought the Evil Dead remake was. Because he thought it was good. Right. He thought it was very good. And I told him I didn't really appreciate it too much.
I'm not sure I want to.
Okay, so the main reason is because it was a title thing. It could have been just another sequel because it really didn't have any connection at all.
It could have been called Evil Dead Legacy.
Yes, it could have been called something like that. So that was one thing. But the other thing is this. In the movie, the girl, they're taking a girl out there and they are having a intervention because she has like a heroin problem or something.
Oh,
okay. Yes, that is what Pumpkinhead just doesn't bother with. There's no excess problems that these people are dealing with in their lives. They're just kids who want to crack open some suds, drink some Budweisers, and they want to ride their motorcycles and drive over dogs and little kids and things. Yeah, that's all they want to do. That's all they want to do, folks. Just let them have their fun. And then, there is no fat to this movie at all, and it's not. It's not a blistering pace.
No, it's not. Like you said, Tim, it's very dreamy. Like.
Yes,
it's very, and I like that because they're in we don't know where they're at, but it's supposedly a small town area and it has that feel to it.
Right.
There's not much out there.
There's not
nowhere really to run.
Right.
There's no, we go to the cabin where we were supposed to go and we're going to hide there.
Right.
Until all this blows over.
Right.
Well, it doesn't blow over. Then Pumpkinhead shows up.
Sure.
I mean, you're right. There's not, the only thing in the whole movie that I really remember is a big deal is the fact that they don't want the one guy doesn't want to get in trouble because he's already been in trouble.
Right.
The guy that ran Ed Harley's son over.
Right. And the other kids are trying to convince them that they're not doing the right thing. Yes. And the whole time they're trying to convince them, they're becoming accessories.
Yes. And so he becomes more violent towards them. Yeah.
Well, and the thing, and their brothers, remember that the guy has a younger brother. The younger brother's trying to help him out and stuff. And the thing is that it is a focused idea. It's so focused with this dreamlike fantasy scattered about world in the periphery of everything. But what's happening, the plot, the central theme, what's going on is very focused, driven. You start from point A, there's a straight line. There is a straight line, and you have basically two straight lines. You have Lance Henriksen's characters and a kid.
Yeah.
And you watch these two things go parallel with each other.
Yes.
And it's just focused. There's no BS. Yes. There's no fact. I mean, this is exactly what happened. And it's what the whole heroin subplot in Evil Dead is what ruined it for me. Because, I mean, they spent time coddling this girl and telling her it's okay. And I know what's going on is they're like, we need to, there's a lot of people out there that are suffering through heroin problems, and we should address this and make this. Oh, for God's sake, just make a fun movie and maybe people wouldn't get depressed and start heroin.
Right.
Just make a fun movie. Remember what I told you, and I even sent you a video of this. George Eastman, Anthropophagus himself, the Grim Reaper. Yeah. Remember I told you that I saw an interview and I sent you a video of it. Yeah. They said, that he still works and in Italy, and they wanted to cast him in this big made-for-TV movie in Italy where he was going to make a lot of money and stuff. And they said, "Oh, great, what's my character?" And they said, "You're the father of a heroin abuser, or addict, or something." He goes, "Whoa. And he said, I'm paraphrasing, the problems that people deal with in everyday life are not the ones that interest me in putting up on the screen.
No.
I want to take people on an adventure. I want to take people on a journey. I want them to forget about life for a while and go into this escapism that we need so desperately, and we're not being fed it. This is why, again, I like the older movies. I think that they were there. It wasn't like there wasn't serious movies being made, and it isn't that I don't like them.
Yes.
You got a choice. It didn't feel like they had to make a message. I mean, you basically had a couple movies that were like kind of quote important, and then you had popcorn fun movie and silly movies like Frankenstein versus Dracula and crap like that. It's like so stupid that you couldn't even watch it with a straight face. And that is what I enjoy, knowing what you're getting. You go into Pumpkinhead, you get yourself a monster movie. Yes. And you get one that says, it's high concept. Yeah. It's very simple. This is it. Boom. And I like it. I like that kind of stuff. Yep.
Turn on the car. Press the gas.
Yes.
Let's go.
Right. Yeah. Point A to point B. Don't stop off for a heroin addiction. No. Don't get pneumonia in the movie. Let's not have too many. Let's not have like this love triangle going on that you just completely derail the whole story over. Just who cares? Who cares? I'll watch a romance if I want to see that kind of stuff. I want to see a monster. Right. And I want to see a monster movie. Again, I've said this a million times in the show. It's what I don't like about zombie movies. Every time I see people talking, I don't watch them anymore anyway. But because that's all they make. But I'm saying every time they say a new zombie movie, I hear people saying, "I like it because it's about the people, not the zombies." Well, terms of endearment to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
So exactly that to me is like, okay, I like Jaws a lot, but I like it better when the shark ain't around. Ooh, what the hell are you talking about? I mean, okay, sure, it's got some
Right.
good stuff in it, but dude, come on, man. This is about a giant shark, man. This is what the movie is based around.
Right.
I'm so done with the whole. Oh my god!
And
now
Shark
they're
is
doing a couple more.
Shark. Jaws is pretty focused too.
Yes,
It's a little more detailed than this and that, but think about what they cut. You read the book.
Yes.
Think about what they changed from the book to where they put in the movie.
So
The whole Matt Hooper and Brody's wife having an affair.
Which I didn't need.
Right.
Nope.
The whole thing with the mob. You didn't need any
mob trying to keep keeping the mayor, to keep the beaches open. I don't need that. It is
a focused story of Chief Brody trying to first of all, being convinced himself something's happening, and then convincing everyone else is happening, and then doing something about it. That's it. Boom, done.
That's it.
We're not talking about Quint's alcohol problem. We're not, they have little allusions to things. You don't need any more. A little allusion to something can say everything.
Yes.
Anyway, so it was good to go back and watch that. It's been a little while.
Good, buddy.
And so it's fun. So moving on, couple things here. I did watch some documentaries. I'm not going to talk too much about them because I want you to see them too. First up, I did watch a movie called Legends of the Heartland: The Life and Crimes of Return Ward.
Yeah, what a name, huh?
Yes, this takes place in Toledo.
Yes, it does.
Toledo. So I'm not going to talk about it much because you want some time to watch this.
Yes, I do. Buddy.
And it's all of it is I can't think of the name of the suburb. It's a little suburb right outside Toledo. It's not Maumee, but they do talk about the Maumee River and stuff, and they talk about all this sort of stuff. So watch it, and we're going to talk about that coming up. If anybody wants to listen or watch it and get up to speed before we speak about it, it is on Amazon Prime. All of these documentaries are on Amazon Prime.
Crimes in the Heartland, right, Tim? Was it?
It's Legends of the Heartland: The Life and Crimes of Return Ward. I do believe the crimes took place in 1857. So you're going to get some Toledo history.
Toledo history,
yes. And modern businesses that are being affected by that history. So you might really enjoy this. So there's a lot of businesses. I mean, we're talking like a hardware store and all that sort of stuff, and a beauty salon they go to, and they talk to these people in a bar, a pub, or whatever. Yeah. And they talk to all these employees that are having some really crazy crap happening because of a serial killing crime that happened. So you get a little education on a serial killer you probably never knew existed. And it's considered Ohio's first serial killer.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So you get a little of that, and then you get some ghost crap after that too.
That's okay.
Yeah. So anyway, yes. So that was that.
Thanks,
so that was again. I was on Amazon Prime. Okay. So last up here, Mr. Ben Harley here. And now I did finish. I talked last week about the documentary on Amazon as well. Bigfoot, a documentary by casual preppers. And I said it was these two guys who were kind of like fun doomsday preppers. I don't think they take it really seriously or nothing. But they have a podcast, and I started alluding to the fact of, wow, it's a lot like stalking Bigfoot when you start putting this thing together. Well, let's be fair. We had a high concept film. It was pretty focused. It was pretty much like this is what it is, but it does take me back how similar this is to, but then again, I think Willow Creek was fairly similar. There's other similarities, to what we did too, and there's gonna be, and I'm not accusing these guys of anything, but it was kind of the similarities are striking.
Very,
I did finish it. I'll give the guys credit. All they do, it's very beautiful. I don't know where they're at. I didn't really pay attention, but they're in some mountainous areas, and that's very beautiful where they're at. They kind of just joke around with each other, though, and put up like trail cams and don't really find anything.
Okay.
They hear a couple things. But
I tried to watch a little bit of the beginning of it, and they were so that's one thing I need to go back and kind of.
Right. But you did actually like to tag on to this, though. You said you will go back and watch our film, Stalking Bigfoot again.
Yeah. Tim, it's been a little while. I mean, probably a couple of years since I've watched it. And I've been wanting to go back ever since, with Danny's passing and stuff. I've been wanting to kind of go back and watch it. And actually, I was doing some printing, and we had, me and Brett and actually another friend of ours. And he sat down and watched a little bit of it with us, too, and actually really kind of enjoyed it as well. Now, I mean, when you're watching it with me, I'm going to throw you some gags and some stuff and give you a little behind the scenes. So it might seem a little bit more fun maybe, but you seem to like it a lot. And, Tim, it was kind of hard watching it only for the fact because of Danny's passing, seeing him again,
And for folks who don't know, Danny Hicks was in the movie with us from Evil Dead 2.
Yes.
And he has just passed recently.
Yes.
And he was a very good friend
Ned
of both
Spedler.
of ours. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And and the thing is, it just reminds me the fact that Danny didn't have to do that for us.
No.
He didn't have to be in it. We had our talks with him about Bigfoot and stuff. And even Danny and I had heard something that night. And we both looked at each other like, oh, man, really? Like.
I had a hard time.
And, I mean, I believe. And I was even like, oh, wait. And even Danny was like, wait, what the heck?
Yeah.
But, kudos to Danny for doing it with us. He did. Because he did not have to. And he makes that movie so fun.
He is the movie. I mean, he's as much as we thought we were doing something. You go back and look at it, you realize who the pro is and who the dorks are.
Yes, and even going back and listening, because we had a Quint scene that we did for Danny, or Danny did for us,
right?
And it still, to me, is great. And I will always enjoy the fact that we did the movie. And boy, Tim, it was hotter than blue blazes that day. We did it too. It was so hot. Oh my God, it was hot. But we did it. And, going back and watching it, I still enjoy it a lot. I really, really enjoyed this movie. And I said it was good to go back and see Danny again and see how you and I reacted to Danny and things like that. And even our fun little Grape Ape scene and us putting a tent up just brought good memories back to me. But I still think it is a good movie. And it has its merits. And I think all of us put what we could into it. And you can see that when it all came together. And I couldn't be happier about being involved in something. So
yeah. I have a problem with some of the technical things in it. We did it very quickly, and there were some issues. Audio. The main issues for me is audio.
To draw the cover than it did for us to make the movie.
Right.
That'll tell you something.
The audio is pretty bad. We weren't really aware of this while we were shooting, and I don't want to throw anybody under the bus or anything, but there were some issues that we weren't aware of. Had we known a little bit more, known what was going to happen, we would have went back and redid some things. But the nature of what we were doing was we were trying to make it as natural and real as possible. And we did go back and redo a few things. And I'm proud of the fact you can't tell which ones they are or nothing like that. But at the same time, like, it just makes it hard, because I think if had we technically tighten some of that up, I would, not that I'm not proud of it, but I would feel it was more commercial.
Sure.
Than a fun,
commercially viable.
Yes. Than a fun little jaunt into escapism, which is kind of what it is.
Yes.
And the whole thing with the Doomsday Preppers, or I'm sorry, the Casual Preppers documentary too, is that they kind of are doing the same thing, but they don't have a Danny with them. And they also don't have, we actually made the crew as part of the film, and that was kind of, that was more of the crew's idea. That was more Jason's idea, more Jason Hoover's idea, and that was a great idea. They really, that's what they really brought to that, and I really appreciate that. That was good, because most of the other of that was my idea. Was that we're going to go here? There's Ned Spedler. I came up with the guy's name. I did everything, but at the same time. It was because me and you talked about the finding Bigfoot a lot, and we wanted to go out there and do that. Yeah, and we wanted to show how you could do this and make it look like you're actually doing it when you're not. We were in my parents-in-law's backyard. You would never know that watching that movie. Never know it.
In Indiana.
Yeah. And in a backyard with the little woods behind it, and it looks like we're in the forest, man. I mean, it looks like we're out there, and we're not. And even the drive to it, we extended to make it look like we're way, way the hell out there. And it's just, it's easy to kind of take it for what it is. But I think that, I think the little snippets that we got with some of the actors, some of the local, or not local, some of the celebrities that we know from the conventions and stuff, that was gold. I so appreciate them doing that.
Oh man, and it's funny because
they sue us probably. And
and they could also they could
knew they were doing
no, we're not going to do it. And we got genuine answers from them, which was awesome. Genuine, like either I don't care or oh no, yes, there's or genuine answers. And my thing for me, Tim, is what and the only thing I really had that I contributed to it was to talking with Hoover about, I really wanted it to have that Mutual of Omaha, thing from back in the day, with just some nature scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And there are in there. And he did put those in there, just a stream and things going, and
like B-roll stuff. They call it B-roll. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And that was the only thing that I really, as far as it said anything to, hey, it'd be cool if we had. And then I think that also it's kind of fun because it's a good little movie, Tim. It really is. It's
way better than it could be. It's way better than it should be.
Tim, when we left there, I thought I was hoping we'd have a half-hour little film to show our friends, and that's all I was hoping for. And we ended up having an actual movie. It's a movie,
right.
And it's fun, and it could use a little help, and I would like to see it get its help.
Yeah, if we can, we're going to try. But I don't know what if there's not. I don't know what the elements we have left for. Something we're going to talk to Jerry Chandler from Synapse Films about. Yeah. The elements that we have. I don't know how much restoration we can do to that. But we're gonna see. But I have friends who just do not like the movie, and then I have friends who really like it, and I think that's fine. Me too. And I think that you're not everyone is going to enjoy it. If you get too critical watching it, you're probably not going to, because it's not super tight. It's technically a lot of mistakes, and I'm telling you, the audio as an audio guy, it drives me nuts.
Yes.
You do not want to watch this on a surround sound system. You want to watch it on TV speakers. It helps.
Yep. And that's what I was.
Sure, I'm sure it helps a lot because it takes care of a lot of that compression and some of the EQ issues there are in it and stuff like that. But anyway, it was still like, it was a pleasure. It is something to think about that, we were in this movie with Danny, and he was very special to us, and we were special to him. That's why he
took
did
his time.
Yes. And he helped us, and he made it better than it should have been. And he did that. He lent that to us because he was so experienced in that stuff. And kudos to him. His chair is still back here. His metal. I'm telling you, he's watching us. I haven't moved it out of here.
I have a feeling today he's here.
He's here. Yeah, for sure. Now, something that's a much more morbid. You told me.
Yes.
Now I'm just here to scold you. That's all I'm going to do about this, and then we're going to get to our official film. I'm going to give you a couple minutes here to defend yourself. And I'm only going to give you a couple minutes, and you're going to defend your damn self. You actually watched. Now, I do this stuff, but that's because it's a technical glitch on my part that I have to do these things. You don't have to do this stuff. You don't have the same kind of time frame I've got. No, you watched Jaws 4, The Revenge.
Yes.
You took your life in your own hands like a stopwatch. You watched an hour and a half
already, buddy.
go away from your life that you're never going to get back, watching that piece of dunk.
Yes.
Defend
Tim, I don't know
yourself.
if I want to say, Tim, I don't know if I want to say that I was lucky to have seen this movie in the theater.
I saw it in the theater too.
And I did see it in the theater. I wouldn't call it lucky, but yes.
It wasn't Pumpkinhead.
No, sir. Oh my God, Tim. Yeah, so going into this movie as a kid, knowing that Michael Caine was on board, I was like, this could actually be pretty good. And then I saw the film, and then I realized movies can really suck. They can suck bad.
Oh yes.
Even ones that I think I might like could suck real bad.
Oh,
now Jaws 3, I kind of had that feeling when I left Jaws 3, but I was young enough and naive enough, Tim, at the time. But it's only my fault for going back and seeing 4. Now here's the deal. So Billy Shea that works with me here, he brought in his cousin works at like a not a U-Haul, but like a storage place. So they're always finding stuff that people leave their, or if they don't pay their bill and they get kicked out. So they go through and rummage through and find stuff. Well, Billy Shea brought in, and I don't know who did this to themselves, but someone had actually bought a Jaws 4 Blu-ray.
Oh boy.
So Billy brought it in the other day, and he said, "Hey, Ben, look at what I found." I was like, "Oh God, no!" I actually didn't even want to touch it. Really, I was like, "Oh God." I was like, they put this on Blu-ray?
Yeah, I've got it too.
Oh no,
I've got it. I do have. I admit, I do have it. Yeah,
I know you do. Yeah. So Billy brought it in, and I'm like, and he's like, "I've never seen this," and I was like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "No, I've never seen it." So Tim, in my defense, I had to make sure that Billy.
Oh God! Well, now it makes sense. He just wanted to torture Billy. I'm okay with that.
Big time.
I'm totally okay with that. I'm on board.
Big
now
time.
It makes sense. Now you are.
So I wanted him to
forgiven.
suffer.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
For what I had to suffer through. Now, Tim, I'm not even going to talk too much about this movie because I hate it that much. Mm-hmm. But I know this is hard. God, it's so hard to do this. But okay, I'm going to give the first 20 minutes of this movie a mild grape A+.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the rest of this movie, I'm going to give not even I don't even know what to give it, like a steaming pile of crap. But well, the funniest part about this whole movie is that it actually goes down to the Bahamas. And that's what, even as a kid, I was like, wait a second, that doesn't make sense at all. It doesn't make sense. Especially a great white shark. But Tim, so yeah, the first 20 minutes is based around, the youngest Brody, Sean, right? Is it Sean? Yeah, Sean, the youngest Brody, is now the chief of police. And I remember even seeing it in the theater thinking, well, at least we're here. Okay, this sounds okay. We're doing all right so far. They even have a picture of Chief Brody on the wall.
Right.
They snuck Roy Scheider in the movie.
Yes, they had to sneak him in somehow.
Right.
So then he's about to go home for Christmas, but they say, no, there's a log or something jammed into a buoy. You need to go out there. Mm-hmm. And he goes out there. And actually, like, this part is really good. And I remember even seeing it in the theater thinking, oh, my God, here we go. Yay. We're back to, because it was terrifying. He goes out there. He tries to get the log off the buoy, gets attacked by the shark, gets his arm bit off, which is terrifying. Mm-hmm. He's laying in the boat like, oh, my God, what just happened? And the shark comes back and gets him. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Good stuff. I mean, because he's out there screaming for help, like screaming, and they can't hear him because they're practicing for the choir is out there singing Christmas carols. And to me, it's one of the best parts in all of the Jaws movies. And then it ends. Mm-hmm. And then this movie goes into some kind of, I don't even know, buddy. Like,
let me ask you a question. I'm going to stop you right there, though. But there is a problem I have with that scene. It does not at all feel like a Jaws scene, though.
No,
I don't remember any music. I don't remember any tension build up. I just remember it happening.
It just
and
happens,
it could have been a documentary almost thing where it was just like he was.
It's more of like what you see nowadays, more of a Jaws, like the actual mouth. Okay, slashing. Oh, my arm's gone. Oh no, where's the shark? Okay, the shark comes. But no, it doesn't even. I don't even think it really even shows much of the shark at that point. It just
right.
And to me, it's basically what they were trying to do is take the original when Chrissy gets killed at the beginning of Jaws, and that's what they were trying to do. Mm-hmm. But for me, even as a kid and watching that, because I like the family, I like the blah blah blah, I was pretty terrified by it. And watching it again, it's not bad. It's really not a bad scene. Mm-hmm. But then the movie just goes to a point, just limp. I mean, it just dies. Like, so basically they come, his brother Michael comes to get the mom, and then they're going to take her down, to the Bahamas with them. But she can sense that the shark is there, and then the shark follows them all the way from Martha's Vineyard.
The shark psychically follows Brody's, Mrs. Brody, because he's after the whole family now. So he kills the one son who's the chief of police, and the other son's living down in the Bahamas, who is ironically another marine biologist, right, or something like that.
Yes.
And so then the shark is following, but it's not even that stupid plot. That's bad. It's how it's made. I mean, it's just how it's filmed and how it's like.
Yes. You got Mario Van Peebles in it with one of the worst accents I've ever heard of a Jamaican guy. They're
Lance Gus is bad in it too, and I like him. Oh, and he's bad in it. And we're both big Michael Caine fans.
Yes, and he's just like kind of like just
was it
here and there. It's like.
Hoagie or something his name is. Oh my God, yeah. And it's like
Hoagie or whatever.
Well, here we go again. They spend so much damn time introducing so many damn characters and try to get you to care about them, and they never show a damn shark.
No.
That you what are you watching? I mean, what is this, it is the Exorcist 2 of the Shark series. I mean, it is.
Yes. Oh, it is.
Oh my God, our pal Mark Diamond, he actually likes that one better than Part 3, and I can't see it because to me, Part 3 is at least funny because it's like silly and stupid and funny.
Yes,
and it's an embarrassment. But it's an embarrassment, like when you're at a party and you actually fart. And it's like, I really wish I wouldn't have done that, but it is pretty funny.
Yeah.
This Jaws 3 is like, I wish I really wouldn't have done that, but it is pretty funny. Jaws 4 is a damn insult. I mean, it's boring. It's boring.
Insulting.
It's boring.
And then
it makes you fall. I mean, the shark stuff is just boring and slow, and it's like,
Oh my
It's not
God.
fun.
There's like 3 different endings to this movie.
I remember in the theater seeing one, and that made me roll my eyes. And then I saw it like on TBS or something later. I was like, wait a minute, that's bad too, but it's different. You know, like, and then I realized there's like 3 different endings to it. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And that right there just
nobody
shows you.
cared that much about Mario Van Peebles, Tim. I'm sorry.
No.
Nobody cared that much about him. Oh my God, he's back.
Right.
Oh God.
Right. They assumed that he was the character. He is the Jar Jar Binks of the Jaws series.
Yes,
for sure.
Thank you, Tim. You made a good. Wow, that was perfect, buddy. Thank you.
I tell you what, I'm tired of talking about it. We've given way too much.
Too.
We've given way too much time and credit
Jaws
to
4.
Jaws the Revenge. And hey, and let's be fair here, I don't talk a lot about Jaws 3 either. Even though I had fun. I did, you know what, man? You went and saw that movie, at least it was in 3D. You know, at least you sat there and you had reeds like hitting you between the eyes and and stupid crap like that.
I was scared. I was scared during that one. When I came out of there, I wasn't so scared, but I still you know,
you were still worried about the shark jumping out of the swimming pool.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, God. Tim.
So, all right, let's get to our official film here, Mr. Ben Harley. Something that is
Tim.
not.
I'm sorry, people. I did that to you. I'm sorry.
Bad.
I wanted Billy to suffer too.
Yeah, you did to yourself. So, all right. So this week, our official little film, Mr. Ben Harley, is the 1958 film How to Make a Monster.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to get out Movie Guy and give you a short storyline synopsis. Now, first up, there is a poster art blurb.
Ooh,
and I'm not sure how I feel about it, but it does make kind of sense. Okay, so here is the, let's say, un-PC, maybe, I guess, I don't know, poster art blurb on the poster for How to Make a Monster.
Yes.
See the ghastly ghouls in flaming color.
Flaming color. All right.
Flaming
I got you.
Color.
Tim, I actually had to rewind at one point to make sure I was seeing what I saw. I was like, was I not watching a black and white movie a minute ago? And then all of a sudden it turned to color. I was like, this ain't the Wizard of Oz. What
Ben Harley, what happened? I can tell you exactly what happened. It wasn't normal color. You were watching it in flaming color.
Yeah. Well, I guess so, because I thought I was flaming lost for a minute. I did, dude. I'm not kidding you. I was like, what just happened? I blinked, and the next thing I know.
Well, let's just do this short storyline synopsis here now that we've gotten that out of the way. So, all right, here we go. Here is the short storyline synopsis for How to Make a Monster.
Wow. Okay.
Via and care of and packaged by a movie guy. Here we go.
Thank you, movie guy.
When a master monster makeup artist is sacked by the new bosses of American International Studios, he uses his creations to exact revenge. Let me start off by saying that this is a really neat idea for a movie, and I'm surprised it hasn't been done a lot more. And there's been variations on this, but it's usually like a toy maker, like in Dolls, Puppet Master, things like that. But an actual makeup artist on a film. I thought of Jack Pierce the whole time I was watching this movie. Me too. And it's because this is what happened to Jack Pierce at Universal, basically. It's once
they sacked him after a while.
They sacked him after a while, and he went on to do independent films and things like that. And he was just sort of shuffled away after he did all this stuff, and the Westmores took over. That's a crime. So
that's a crime.
Well, so it kind of reminded me of that. But this stuff was kind of happening around this time because we think of these monster movies, but when you think of like the giant bug movies, it was kind of a different expertise to do like those basically puppet bugs and things. There was put makeup on a guy and turn him into a werewolf or a Frankenstein monster or something like that. So, but this movie is the A.I.P. and it's funny because it's shot at A.I.P. and that A.I.P. actually put the movie out, and they're it's almost breaking that fourth wall in a way, which I found very fascinating too.
Me too. Yeah.
So what they do is they're making a sequel. Now, this was after I Was a Teenage Frankenstein, I Was a Teenage Werewolf came out. Now, we have reviewed I Was a Teenage Werewolf.
Yes, but not Frankenstein.
But not Frankenstein. Now, neither one of those two movies have been released.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Tim, did you appreciate that they used Frankenstein's monster?
They did say Frankenstein's monster a lot. They did also refer to him as Frankenstein, but I'm okay as long as you acknowledge that you're doing a shorthand. Awesome. Yes, I get it. Okay, again, the other two movies, now I can't, for the life of me, and it's driving me nuts because I've been sitting here for a while trying to remember a name, and I'm too stubborn to go look it up. But one of the actresses who was in some of these movies was married to, I can't remember which one of these two guys it was, from A.I.P. And she owns the rights to some of these movies. Again, we were talking about this earlier, how some of these people made a lot of money in the VHS days.
Yeah.
And they are not being offered as much money to license these movies now. And so they're holding on thinking they can get a better deal when they don't realize it can't.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to.
Right. So somehow this movie was pried loose and has been released. And it is the sequel, almost a pseudo-sequel to I Was a Teenage Werewolf and I Was a Teenage Frankenstein. So that's what we're doing here. So what they do is A.I.P. in the movie. A.I.P. is producing a sequel itself, and it's going to be the two monsters wrestling.
Fighting each other.
Yeah, it's going to be a Frankenstein versus Wolfman type of movie or whatever.
Which would have been that's exactly where they would have went from there. You know what I mean?
Sure. So
could have bolted a movie.
Sure, but the plot itself is very cool because you're basically watching a movie within a movie, and then the special effects guy, the makeup guy, and his assistant are told in no uncertain terms that they're being sacked. And after this movie's done, you're done. You're out of here, and stuff. As soon as you take this movie,
they don't need your services.
That's right.
Anymore.
What they're going to do.
And rips on them about what he's done all these years. Monsters, they're done. They're over. We're over it. We're going on. And I mean, just really shit on the guy's legacy within 5 minutes. Okay, you're done. Beat it, type thing.
Right. So then this guy, that's his cue to go mad. Yes. And so he has, I think they just simply say that he put Novocaine in the makeup. I think it's going to take a little bit more than dental numbing agents to hypnotize someone. But basically, they're claiming that this stuff in the makeup that he's putting on these young actors is causing them to lose their will, and they are under his spell now. Yes. The special effects guy. Pete Dumond is his name. So that's the story. So then he sends out these guys made up like monsters to go kill the new studio chiefs that are coming in, taking over and stuff like that. So I mean, I don't think he thinks he's going to get his job back. It's just simple revenge.
Yes, exactly.
That's all it is.
Let's call it revenge.
Right.
Just like Jaws 4.
Right. And there lies in the movie. So you don't have any real monsters except the people in this movie. And some murders. Not too many murders either. But what keeps it glued together and interesting is that you kind of are watching a movie within a movie. So you're seeing scenes being shot as if they're real movies, and then you see the Wolfman just kind of take his teeth out and start talking to you and things like that. Which, to me, what I found fun is that, what an interesting idea, especially for 1958.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great premise. Yeah. That's what I really like about this movie is the premise is really good. Now, it's hard because I was trying to explain to some people when I was watching or, hey, I watched this movie, and it was hard for me to explain how he got the people to bend to his will. That was the only part I had that. The rest of it, to me, is fairly believable. I mean, fairly, I was on board. It was just, how is he doing that?
Right.
Novocaine and hypnotism.
right. Yeah, Novocaine kind of threw me. I'm like, I guess people didn't know exactly what Novocaine was, or it was a newer. I don't know. I'm like, okay, that's what they put in my mouth that makes it droopy after I go to the dentist.
Yeah, for 4 hours.
Right. So this was directed by Herbert L. Strock, who actually did The Crawling Hand, The Devil's Messenger with Lon Chaney, which we did, Gog.
Nice. Yeah.
He did Gog.
Yeah.
And he also did I Was a Teenage Frankenstein. So he did the movie that I think that was previous, because I believe I Was a Teenage Werewolf came first, and then I Was a Teenage Frankenstein. So he did that. Now, I Was a Teenage Werewolf was directed by Gene Fowler, who did I Married a Monster from Outer Space, or as I like to call it, the Angie O story.
Yeah.
It was produced by Herman Cohen here, who did Conga, Target Earth, Berserk, and Trog. Little movie.
Trog, nice.
Yes. Pete Damon, the guy that plays the Jerky McJerkington special effects makeup guy, is played by Robert H. Harris. He did a lot of TV. I was trying to place this guy, and I'm like, he kind of looks familiar, but then again, he just kind of looks like a a regular like character actor type guy you'd see on TV. It's kind of what he was.
Sure.
Worked a lot.
Okay.
He was in like The Invisible Boy, Valley of the Dolls. Yeah, I don't know. He was just like one of those guys.
Okay.
He was pretty good in this though. He was pretty good. I thought he was
definitely.
kind of. He played a jerk pretty well.
Oh man, well, because you know me, Tim. I like my descent into madness.
Oh, you do, and your heels.
He started off, yes. Oh yeah. Well, he just started off kind of like that sounds terrible, butthurt. He did. Right. He started off like he was just, and I don't blame him. They really did dog him out, and then, but he slowly till towards the end where he was just crazy. He was just out of his mind. You know what I mean? Like, which was good, and I enjoyed it. I thought he was probably the best part of the film. For me. He was.
He's definitely. Yeah. He definitely didn't hurt it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
His assistant Rivero, played by Paul Breiner. Yeah. He just did lots of TV. Did lots of TV.
Yeah.
You said he was in what now? He was
Wagon Train.
He was in Wagon Train.
He was the cook.
Okay.
He's the cook in Wagon Train. Yes.
All right. He's got a funky monkey look to him, and I like it. I like it.
Yes.
I like his funky monkey look.
Yeah, and you kind of feel bad for him throughout the movie. Like he's just kind of he's just trying to be a good assistant still.
Right. Right. Well, he doesn't. First of all, he doesn't want to lose his job. Second of all, he knows that this guy's unhinged, and if he irritates him too bad, it won't be good for him. Which of course turns out to be the case.
Yes.
Let's see. Tony Mantell, the Frankenstein monster actor kid who's in that one, was played by Gary Conway, who we all know him as the Lion from American Ninja 2: The Confrontation.
Oh, that's right.
There you go. And he actually wrote American Ninja 2, and he wrote American Ninja 3: Blood Hunt.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So, but he did play. He was Bob. He was the original Teenage Frankenstein, who was Bob.
Oh, he did play him. Okay, cool. All right,
he was Bob the monster.
Bob.
Yes. So, he also was a writer on Over the Top. The Sylvester Stallone arm wrestling movie.
With the arm wrestling, yeah. Oh my God,
yeah.
Really?
Well, Bob looked like he could arm wrestle somebody. He was,
Bob. Yeah, he was a big lad.
Yes.
Yeah, he was.
Let's see here. The teenage werewolf character was now, of course, Michael Landon.
Yes,
did not return for this.
Original.
He was. I think he'd landed at one of his TV shows. So he wasn't going to return to this.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, right. So they replaced him with the actor Gary Clark.
Yes.
Actually, he is still working. He was born in 1933. He's got movies still coming out. He did a lot of TV, and he was a writer on Get Smart.
Wow.
Believe it or not. Yeah, he was in, as an actor, he was in like Missile to the Moon and Drag Strip Riot and some other low-budget stuff. What I found interesting is I'm not sure if you caught his name in the movie or not.
Yeah, it was something that sounded really...
his name was Larry Drake.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Speaking of stalking Bigfoot, Larry Drake is in Stalking Bigfoot. The late and great Larry Drake.
Yes.
He was a wonderful man.
Yeah.
Yes. Who was?
Oh, that's awesome.
He was one of the highlights of Stalking Bigfoot as well. So
yeah.
And of course, I know you had to recognize old Morris Ankrum, the police captain Hancock.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this is funny. So as soon as he showed up, I felt comfy. He's like comfort food to me, like in a movie. I'm like, we all know that guy. And I even looked over at Angie, and I'm like, well, there he is. There he is. She's like, who? I go, Morris Ankrum. And I'm looking at her, like, now, come on, lady. Me and you watched enough of these movies now.
How much movies do I got to show you? Yeah.
Right. So let me tell you something here. Morris Ankrum, Brigadier General John Hanley in Earth versus the Flying Saucers.
Yeah.
General John Hanson in Beginning of the End. Lieutenant General Constantine in The Giant Claw.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Colonel Fielding, don't call me Dan, from Invaders from Mars. Yes. Let's see here.
Played a lot of colonels.
Oh, he even went up in the world. In Red Planet Mars, he was Secretary of Defense Sparks.
Wow.
Now, he did show off some of his education in some of these movies, too, because he was Dr. Cleveland in Giant from the Unknown. He was Dr. Stern from Kronos. Dr. Eggert from Zombies of Moratau. And Dr. Fleming from Rocket Ship XM. I could go on, but I'm not going to.
But no, yeah. The good doctor.
Yes. I don't remember if I saw him in flaming color.
Yeah.
Either.
I don't think he ended up being in. Well, he might have right at the end there.
Yeah. So, okay, yeah. So there's your people in the film and everything, and yes, that's what we have here. So the movie is, they show a little bit of them trying to make the Frankenstein versus Dracula type of movie, and then they're all given their pink slips, their notice they're going to go, and so the Pete Damon character, the makeup effects guy, starts sending out his teenage Frankensteins and werewolves to kill these executives.
Yeah,
and then not only that,
of the movie too.
But not only that, he even does himself up like an Igor or Mr. Hyde type of killer. And he even does one of the guys in himself.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of interesting.
Which I thought was really. I mean, those parts of the movie to me were awesome because they're like, here's these executives that are like, we monsters are dumb and monsters are done, and then we don't want them, and we're gonna, and then they get killed by these monsters, which was like, wow, it was like, to me, it was like, I don't want to say apropos or whatever, but it was just, it was a good part of the movie. Like the one guy, he's in there watching like the reels at the end of the day, and gets attacked by the wolf man. It's like, and he's sitting there in the booth watching the movies. I thought it was like really cool, not cool, you know what I mean, Tim? I thought it was like a good part of the movie, a good writing, good whatever, you know what I mean? Like, because these guys were just dogging the monsters, you know, and I could see that at that time. Like, no, we're done with that now. We're done with hot rods. We're done with monsters. We're done with, and that happened with all these movies and all these things. But the monsters keep coming back. They do. You know what I mean?
Well, and they
we're
keep
still talking about them.
Right, and they keep tension in the movie going too by he's not. I mean, Pete Damon is not insane, and he's not up his rocker as much as he's much more evil than that. I mean, and really, as the movie peels its onion layer, it's not a mystery per se, but as you start peeling back the onion layers, you realize this guy is not only has he lost his mind has been lost a long time already. Yeah, and that I think is a little bit of a twist, as it goes on.
And he gives everything to the movies and his creations, and things like that. And I can also understand that being an artist and stuff like. I created this. Right. I created these things. I did, like he was saying, I made so much money for these people. And I did, if it wasn't for him, well, I think one movie was something like they single-handedly saved the company. You know what I mean? And
that's what kind of made me think about Jack Pierce, because if you look at the year this was being made, and he's saying 25 years ago, I saved the studio. Well, you're talking about Jack Pierce. Yeah, and the Wolfman, or something like that. I mean, because you start looking back and you're like, wait a minute, like, it's never really specifically said. And I guess you could say that this was something that was happening at that moment as well. Like two studios like A.I.P. and stuff, that all of their special effects guys were kind of getting. The thing is with the makeup guys, though, most of them were more proud of how they did like. They're starlets, the women and stuff in the movies, like with all that, and then to make these women look even more beautiful than they were, and that was they took just as much pride in that. So we're buying into a little bit of a stereotype that these makeup guys were just doing monsters and wounds and stuff. Actually, that was a very small part of what they did. It was just what they got a lot of notice for. Sure, behind the scenes, making Betty Davis look presentable. That's a special effect. Joan Crawford? Sorry, I'm just not a fan, but that was, they put this makeup on to make him look as good as they could. And I think that playing into that stereotype with these guys being canned, like, I don't think he would have been canned. They would have just said, you're not making these anymore. But then again, what happens
they would have used him for something else.
But he might have been getting paid too much because he had done this stuff. And so that is what happens when a company gets taken over. Radio stations care about that. When the radio station is taken over, the DJs that are actually making money get fired because they're making too much money. And the guys that just are dying to be on air, they hire for next to nothing. It's sad, but that's entertainment for you. True. And yes, to explain see the ghastly ghouls in flaming color. The movie is black and white, but the last two reels were shot in color. So there's your gimmick.
Yes, like it. I don't know that I needed that. I'd almost rather it all been in color or just leave it in black and white.
I would have left it in black and white. Yeah.
Yes. Now I was thinking because so basically what happens is the wheels are coming off of his plan, and he kind of has to get rid of his loose ends, really, which is his assistant and the two guys that he. But I think
the guys
that were doing the killing for him, and he still had them under their control, supposedly, whatever, But he brings them to his house, and as soon as they walk in the door, almost just like when Dorothy walks out the door in The Wizard of Oz, they walk in the door, and then it's color,
right?
And I swear, Tim, it took me a minute, and I stopped. I go, wasn't this just And so I had to rewind it, and I'm like, no, it's right. No, that's what happened. And so when he takes him in there, he has all his masks and all his creations, which he calls his children.
Right.
And at
that's where the twist takes. That's where you get a little bit of a twist where this is deeper than you thought it was. This isn't just him getting fired. This has been going on.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. And at that point, Tim, that would have been my cue to leave. That would have been it for me.
Well, they tried, remember, but the doors were locked.
Yes.
That's the worst excuse of all. These two strapping young men who were look like bodybuilders. At least the one guy did. Yeah. I can't get out because they locked the door. You're on the inside, dude. Unlock the door and walk out.
Yes.
But let's
that would have been my cue,
Tim.
Yeah. When he starts talking he does. He just that's when he really starts to be like, this guy is this has been going on for a long time. Now he's just finally spilling it to somebody.
Right.
And he does. He has all these masks, and there's like giant ones and smaller ones, and some that are really creepy looking. Some are like, what the heck's that thing?
Well, actually,
but he has them like a shrine. It's like a shrine to.
What was funny is when he walked into his house, I was sitting next to Angio, and I'm like, oh. That's from Invasion of the Saucermen. Oh, that's from It Conquered the World. Oh, and I went on. I was like, and I was dead on all of them. Like I knew the movies they had come from and stuff. Now, the thing, the color thing, is because at that time there wasn't any horror movies except for like House of Wax, which is 3D in color. But they didn't make horror films in color, so this was a gimmick, and it's in of itself to even have color in a horror film. Like that, not in like Jack the Ripper. We went through that in one of the versions. The end. It's the very last shots in color of blood coming up from the elevator. Well, this was a total gimmick. This movie feels like a William Castle movie. Yeah, it feels a lot like a William Castle movie because of the gimmicks and stuff. I think it's a little stronger. Writing wise, and I think it feels a little looser. It feels a little more naturalistic than a. Sure. So that kind of explains the color. It was a draw to people. Well, the end itself was a House of Wax inspired, albeit abrupt. It was a very abrupt ending, but it was definitely House of Wax inspired. The whole thing. Now, there's an elephant in the room. And the elephant has a direct tie to the Blood Island movies.
Okay.
And the elephant is the...
Was it that big mask, that big, huge mask?
No, the elephant was the out-of-place musical number sung by John Ashley.
Oh, God, yeah.
That was John Ashley from the Blood Island movies who was doing his best Frank Sinatra Elvis impersonation. Yeah. It was a total, it was sort of like Elvis, but he had just enough of Frank Sinatra in there not to be as dangerous as Elvis.
Right. Exactly,
if you notice, like you're watching, he's got his finger up a little bit, and he's kind of doing, but he's also shaking the hips too. He's giving the adults a little bit of calmness, and he's giving the kids a little wiggle. He's giving them both, wiggle. And I'll be darned if they just didn't say, "John Ashley, sing a song," and
so he jumps up out of his chair, jumps up on stage,
and I'm like, "We're back on Blood Island," but then again, along with John Ashley comes what, Mr. Ben Harley? What always comes with John Ashley? What is always with John Ashley? Yes, and there's lots of them this time.
Yeah.
Yes. I think he has every woman in every Blood Island movie dancing around him in a burlesque outfit during the scene. And And I'll tell you what, the movie is actually such a pleasant movie to watch. You forget about that scene because it is just in the middle of it for no reason except to get a song. It comes out of nowhere. Yeah.
You're like, and I think it's just basically to kind of upset what's his name, our main guy, because he shows up on set. And they're like, oh, really? This is what we're doing now, type thing.
Well, the executives are like, it's all about beach movies and this and that now, and girls, and they don't want monsters and stuff. It's like, well, okay. But I just thought it was like, and on a technical level, they stuck that in there to give John Ashley something to do and give the kids a rock and roll song to listen to.
Right? Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean that's what they did for that. So for the kids in the drive-ins watching this movie, they got a little
rock and roll.
Yeah.
Little something.
I was like, whoop! There he is. There's John Ashley.
I said it right there on his chair too.
So that was kind of funny.
Yeah, that was fun.
I think there was also a term. I'm pretty sure it was Morris Ankrum, but I could be wrong. But there was a term that I don't think caught on very well when they were explaining the kids. Weirdies.
Weirdies, yeah. What's up with that?
There's some more of those weirdies over there. What the hell is a weirdy? Is that a code for a greaser or a beatnik or something? What is it?
I guess.
A weirdie. Okay. There's a weirdie. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well, what can you do? Huh?
Right.
Just keep being weird.
Here's something though that I did have an issue with, and again I did say the movie ends abruptly or whatever.
Sure.
But well, they were kind of taking away the kids, young actors, as if they were guilty. Come on, you're coming with me.
Like, and then it just ends blam.
Yeah, and then they're like, well, where's Demond at? Well, I don't know. He's like, well, I don't know where Rivera is, but Demond's over there in the fire. You're coming with me. All right, well, did they, I mean, what happened to him? I mean, didn't really tighten up.
No. And the thing is that because those guys were the ones that perpetrated the crimes, you know what I mean? So like,
but they didn't know it, so you didn't get to see them try to explain anything. I mean, not that we needed it, I guess it would have like
but still, that for me, that's exactly because when it ended like that, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah,
they didn't even get to explain themselves, and it's just that, and we've had this in so many of these movies. They just, I'm not sure it's that they didn't know how to end a film, but they're just like, well, this is what people are used to, so bam, here you go.
Well, I was going to say the proper way in 1958 to have done this is just to have the cops run in and save the kids as if they just understood what was going on, and then you just let it go. Okay. You let it go. You don't need an explanation. But in this case, the cops looks like they still needed to be explained as to what was going on, and it probably would have helped some of the audience who might have been making out in the cars at the drive-in through most of it too. What the hell did I just see? My parents are going to ask when I get home, you know. Right. And it could have helped, but they just kind of just grab them, but you know what? It was color film stock, so it cost a lot of money. Yeah. It cost a lot. They probably didn't want, maybe they did, just they didn't want to go back to black and white. Who knows? But it is a little bit of a clumsy ending. It's good because you see a little twist too when the monster heads start burning. Yeah, and you see like skulls, and you're like, you're like, that
was cool.
Yeah, you're like, cool. He's been doing this. He's been killing his monsters like the actors for a while, and they don't really beat you over the head with it, but you're like, whoa,
wait a second.
Very House of Wax, like I said again, very House of Wax. But there's no solution. There's no reveal with the police or anything.
No. There's no like.
Could have used another 10 seconds or something just to
exactly. Definitely.
But hey, we're talking about how to make a monster from 1958.
What did they expect? Right?
I think they were batting above their average here. Whenever they, I think they were doing okay with this movie. All things considering. So I'm going to give this movie a solid grade A+. I think it's really like it's a good story. It's creative. It's not doing what every other movie was doing.
I like the story.
Yeah, but it feels familiar.
Yes. The only thing I didn't like is the fact that it's hard to explain to someone like, okay, well, how's he getting them to? And I didn't really understand it. Yeah, I'm like, well, he's says he's got some, he's been working with like potions or whatever, not potion, whatever, like and he does. He's kind of
you're relying on the ignorance of people from 1958 to not understand that Novocaine is just will make your face droopy. That's about it. Right. So, yes, I understand. Exactly. Yeah. So that is something.
But I enjoyed it. I'm going to give it a grade A+. Kind of almost tickling the rafters because I liked it. I thought it was cool. And I was in mostly, Tim, because, that was one of my dreams as a kid, is to do special effects, or something like that. I always wanted to kind of be in that type of role. And as soon as they came in and told him, you're done, you got to go. And he's like, wait, I've been here 25 years. This is my studio. This is where no, we don't care. And to be told something like that, like if someone come in here right now and said, Ben, you're done, get out. Like, hey, this is my place. Wait, I put all this. Nope, you got to go. Right. And that's about as simple as it was for them. They didn't care. They didn't say, hey, thanks for your service. No, we understand. No, you got to go.
Right.
We're here and you're not. Right. You know what I mean? And I was like, So I kind of had a little chip on my shoulder for the guy. Like, wait a second, no wonder he's pissed. Now, I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm going to strangle nobody with my T-shirt tonight.
Well, what else? I think it might have. Maybe this is good. It wasn't there because I think it would have fluffed the story out too much.
Yeah,
there really wasn't any ladies.
No.
Now we had ladies dance around John Ashley. Thank you, John Ashley. But it was almost like they had to stick a dozen of them in there to make up.
They couldn't help themselves.
To make up for there really wasn't. I mean, there wasn't really a female character.
No,
that I can really.
No, there wasn't.
I mean, if there is, I don't really recall. I mean, I saw a couple pretty long-legged ones walking around a lot when they were walking through and stuff.
Well, the one guy did have a girlfriend. He did have the one guy that played the Wolfman. He had a girlfriend,
but they didn't really
They didn't really. No, they didn't really rely on her.
In there. Someone else probably mentioned it. Like, there ain't no ladies in this movie. Like, we better get somebody in there.
Yeah.
Better get, so, but
John
besides
Ashton, bring John Ashton.
John Ashley to bring it. Just go get John Ashley. There's usually about a baker's dozen around him. Just go get him and have him sing a song. They'll all put next to nothing on and dance around him just to get his attention. Yeah. So, John Ashley. Haunted by John Ashley still. So, so you're going to big Grape Ape then almost to the rafters.
Yeah,
huh?
I really like this movie.
It's not
I like
bad.
the premise. I like the ending. I was a little disappointed with that, but other than that, I liked the premise. I liked the acting. I liked how he was so subdued through most of it, but then he slowly, you're like, and actually, that's what was more scary to me sometimes because he was so subdued. You're like, I don't know, this guy's got something bubbling under the surface too. Like I don't know if I trust this guy. So
well,
and
I think that actually a lame ending I can accept much more. Sure. Than an awful movie with a great ending, like Sleepaway Camp is a great example of that, where it's exactly. So either way, though, this was a good, fun example of why 1958 and me get along really good.
Yes,
it's not because I want us to be ignorant or go backwards like in anything. It's because I miss the pure escapist entertainment of just throwing a bunch of people together and having a common experience that we all can identify with, no matter who we are. And I sort of miss that in a way. I feel like we're cherry picking things more now these days, and it's sort of harder to identify with characters. And maybe that's just our age, and they're not making them for us anymore. But I wasn't alive in 1958 either, and I can certainly identify. With this stuff, so I'm not sure that
was 12 years before my run. So.
Yeah, well, it's amazing it was only 12 years too when you think about it. That kind of shows us how old we are. So
right.
Yes, but all right, Miss Benhali, let's get out of here. 2 Grape Apes up. You even got a bigger one than I do. And that's unusual for a movie of this type. And that's How to Make a Monster.
Like a lot. Yeah. Well, that was an ugly looking Frankenstein's monster, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, but effective. It was an effective one.
Effective.
Yeah. It looked a little wrapped on. The rest of him looked like he was in pretty damn good shape, and it was. I was kind of like, I think I might take that face with those muscles. I think I really want those muscles. I have been pining away for big muscles for 40 years, and I'm ready for those muscles right there. Yeah, so.
right.
I think somebody.
I want a chiseled chest.
I think somebody can look past my blemishes on my face for those muscles.
There we go. All right.
Till next week. All you muscular deep thinkers, Mr. Ben Harley.
Pumping iron.
Yes. Be good to each other. Be safe. And we'll be back here next week, so stay spooky, and we'll talk to you then.
Keep it creepy, people.
You've been listening to the Timo and Harley Show, brought to you by ScreenPrintingFactory.com, your affordable one-stop solution to all your screen printing needs.